So hello and welcome to another episode of Steven's Four Wheels. Today I have what you could call a bit of a mini announcement. Now, I've just sold obviously my SOK, my newer one. My SO is still away having repairs. It is now done and coming back very soon. And I still haven't finished my other SOK, my £500 special. However, I had the opportunity to acquire a new project. And so without further ado, let me introduce you to this. Move back a little bit. So this is my new to me 2004 Mini, and today we're going to be going around seeing what the problems are. It does have one sort of big issue, this car, which we'll come on to. Hence why it only cost me £446 at auction, including fees. So what does £446 get you in a Mini? Well, it's got me a winning driving car with no warning lights on the dash. The only warning light I did get on the way back was for a tyre pressure light, which I've pumped up with actually this tyre, which is quite low. So I've pumped that up this morning. And I haven't really had a look around the car, to be honest, so it's been a bit of a voyage of discovery for us both. Now, I will admit I got the car with two keys, both which look like that. Not really the best start, however, it has got central locking, so I just have to open it with the keys. That's all I've been doing. I'm not less that bothered getting the key replaced at the moment. And I suppose we'll start with the biggest sort of issue with this car, which is the exterior. It's a bit like my SOK, that had a lot of exterior problems, but over time I managed to do it up a little bit. Two sort of big issues. All four of the wheels need doing, which isn't a massive issue. The bigger issue is this. Now this is the paintwork, and I don't know if the camera shows, but the sort of the lack or the clear coat has obviously gone. It's gone here, on here, on the bonnet quite badly in several places. A little bit on the roof up on the passenger side. And then I'll show you when we get round to the back. It's also gone on the boot lid as well. Now, obviously, the other thing is both the front and rear lights are obviously gone cloudy. It's very sort of common for these sort of age of cars. But apart from that, I can't really see too much else wrong with it. I should probably point out this little bit of bubbling rust just coming up there. So I've never seen a Mini rust like that before, to be honest. I'm not an expert on these cars, but that's a little bit of an odd place for it to go. I don't know if he's got a stone chip or mark or something here in the now to get in, but that needs dressing. There's also a little bit of a dent as well, just here. If you can see, I'll pan around. Yeah, I think you can just about see it's just above my finger there. So that will need addressing. Moving around to the back of the car, it's yeah. Again, I'll show you the little bit of that there. Obviously, again, the lights are going a bit cloudy. Hope that shows up on camera. Yeah, there's a few other little marks, a few other little bits on the paintwork, but the paintwork is going to need doing on this car. The only other thing, really, it just needs a real good clean-up. Now, it's a good car overall, and we'll go into the driving aspect of it in a minute, but as I say, it needs a really good clean, a little bit of tidying up, a little bit of paintwork the wheels doing, and the outside of this car will look really transformed. While I'm here, I might as well show you in the boot. Dinky little boot. I've got this on the sort of 0.5 lens, so it probably looks a lot bigger than it actually is. Again, same story, needs a bit of a clean up. Quick look under here. Yeah, it does really need a good clean, this car. But it has a boot, you can fit a tiny amount of stuff in there, but then again, I suppose the clue's name is a Mini. So let's close this back up. So I suppose you should go and have a look at the inside now. And I have to admit, I really like the colour combination of this car. I love this red outside with the white roof, white stripes, white mirror caps, and I really like the interior. Obviously got this sort of half black leather with the red. Let's have a look at the back. Oh, that's press not pull. Oh, nearly knocked myself out with that one then. And again, similar thing on the inside. It just needs a real good clean up. There's nothing actually really wrong with it. Just needs a good tidy up. I mean, the seats are fairly well stained, but nothing major really. It just needs a really good tidying up. Let's have a little sit inside now. In case you're wondering, the mileage on this car is 97,000, so not too bad. We have got a Sony CD player, because obviously everyone loves a CD player. However, you have got an aux socket in there, so I could put my tunes in, which is more than I can do with my S on the SOK. You got no air conditioning on this particular one. I did go yesterday. You have to sort of pretend to pass to get the car out of the auction. So I went down to put the window down, and of course the window doesn't actually go down, so not the best of starts, and I haven't really explored the car too much. Really odd having a speedo in the middle as well, slight tangent. You almost have to sort of look down and look around at it. You sort of, I'm used to having cars, so it's sort of white in front of me. Instead, you've just got the rev counter there. I think even mileage is actually in the middle as well. I'm trying to think what's on there at the moment. I can't remember. Is that new? I haven't really had much of an explore, so. But yes, let's go for a little bit of drive, and we'll have a chat about how it drives. We'll have a chat maybe about what I'm going to do with this car going forward. Now, I was driving the car back last night, and I couldn't really get this screen on the stereo to turn off. It seems to be in like shop mode. It's trying to get you to buy it. It's quite amusing. It keeps flashing up with all these letters. Like I think it said 7 presets and shows you all the radios. They've got a CD. It's just quite amusing. Really, it just made me chuckle. It keeps flashing up high power AMP, whatever that means. Yes, all that good stuff. Yes, that's what we like. Now that we're alone viewers, in the words of a famous trio, let's have a chat about how this Mini drives. So, 97,024 miles. It was 96 odd just when I bought it. I ticked out 97 being at home. And it's a manual, which I haven't driven a manual for ages, so I've had to get a little bit used to that. Definitely a lot more engaging, aren't they, manual? They're used to auto like I am. It's quite refreshing to actually have a manual in a way. And to be honest, it's got a lot of pep, this little car. It's not overly powerful. I don't know what the horsepower figure is, I have to research it. But actually it handles really well. It's quite firm on the suspension. However, it is probably aimed at being a bit more of a sporty car, and you can throw this round into corners. I also think with this car having the slightly bigger wheels as well, that probably doesn't help. I know you can get the Coopers with a smaller wheel and slightly chunkier tyre, which probably help with the sort of wide comfort. But actually, my overriding opinion, those are my sort of first thoughts, my overriding opinion is what a sweet little car this is to drive. It's just such a lovely little car. You feel quite low down to the ground. I was doing 40 down a 60 road yesterday, and I was thinking how fast I was going, looked down at the speedo, suddenly I was doing 40, I thought, oh, okay, yes, I'm not used to being quite this low down. And it's just a very sweet little car. It just feels really tight to drive, and even though this car is 20 years old with 97,000, the best part of 100,000 miles on it, it still feels really nice to drive. It feels tight, the interior feels well put together, there's not many squeaks and rattles. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it actually. I really like this little car. It's the first car I've driven for a little while now, and it's put a smile on my face. It's just a fun, happy little car, this one. It's obviously not in the best of conditions at the moment, however I'm hoping I'm the right person to sort of turn that around and do some paintwork, do some bits to it, and over time get it back to not necessarily showroom condition. I'm going to take the same attitude I take with a lot of my cars, and that is really to get it into a usable state that I can take to shows, enough that it can stand on its own 2 feet at a show and not be embarrassed. So I think that's the one thing. It's not quite at that stage yet, and I think again coming into autumn now, we are in sort of getting towards the end of September, and end of August rather, beginning of September. Yeah, I'm getting to that point where I probably need a little winter project, and the SLK is pretty much there today. My R170 SLK, which is also featured on the channel, is actually having wheels changed over today, and that'll be done in a separate video. You may have seen part where I bought some 3 spokes, part 1. Part 2 is actually getting them put on the car and then getting them refurbished as well, so that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks time. But anyway, back to the Mini. We're not here to talk about SLKs today. It's quite a nice change to actually talk about something else other than a Merc. I love my work, don't get me wrong, and I think that's one of the things that will always be a main feature of my channel, but people often ask, why don't I just do a Merc channel only and only have Mercs on there? Because that's what I pretty much have at the moment, but my name, Stephen Talk, doesn't necessarily suggest that. And my response to people is, well, I'm not just into Mercs, I'm a car enthusiast, and I'm into lots of different things, and I just happen to have got into Mercs in a sort of big way, and I would love to do some other stuff. And when I had the opportunity to buy this at auction at a fairly cheap price, it was sort of a bit, yeah, okay, why don't we do it now? Obviously I looked around the car before, I knew it was going to be there at the auction, And yeah, went and looked outside, made sure when they started it up when I went into the hall, that it was all right really. And yeah, so I put my hand up in the air and ended up being the bidder on it. It doesn't have a lot of power, but it is quite fun in the way it delivers it. So yes, it's quite a happy little car, and I can see why people like minis. I can get it now. Having driven one, I don't think I've ever actually driven a mini before. I'm trying to think. I've driven quite a few cars when I worked at motor trade. I think a mini might just take one over the road to our compound. But yes, I've never had that much experience with minis, and I have to admit, I really do like it. Here we go. See, I've pushed this button at the top, it's changed the thing on the rev count, so I've now got my speed on there, save looking over there. It's clever thinking, that is. There we go, that's one problem sorted. So I suppose I should talk about what my plans are for this Mini. And as with the SLK, it wasn't necessarily a planned purchase. It wasn't that I was looking for a Mini. But I'm quite glad I did it. And for the money and the costs, I mean, I've got a car with less than 100,000 miles on, and I've got an MOT till the end of December. I mean, the MOT history looks quite good in the car, so I was fully expected to go through. Tyres look all right. They're not great, they're not bad, you know, sort of in the middle. But yeah, look at this. It's just tooting along its own little pace, being crashed over all the potholes. But yeah, what else can you expect for less than £500? It's just a fantastic car, this. I really like it. So back to my plans. So what am I planning to do with this car? Well, I didn't really go and expect to buy this car, but when it was there and I saw the price, and I couldn't really say no, I think possibly just restore it to a usable spec. As I've already mentioned, I like my cars to be usable. They can hold the head high at shows, but they're not over restored. They're not concours examples. There'll always be a few little bits, not necessarily wrong with them, but there'll always be a few little bits on them, you know, that aren't perfect. I don't like creating a perfect car and be afraid to use it. I've been a concours judge in the past, and one of the things I hated was when people brought cars on trailers to concours competition. I just felt it wasn't really fair on other people that actually might use their cars, and not on an everyday basis, but on a sort of semi-regular basis. Which is why, yeah, so that's, I think, what the plan is going to be. Find that sort of middle ground again, like I do with my other cars, and that seems to be a bit of a theme with me. It's definitely a car that wants to have a bit of fun. You know, it feels like a very fun little car to drive. So I'm quite looking forward to doing a little bit more, having some adventure in this car, getting it done up a little bit, and yeah, so I thought I'd introduce this to you today. Hopefully you like it. Let me know your comments below what you'd like me to do with it, maybe, or what you want to see from this. Any advice, anything you've seen while maybe I've missed while you've been looking around this car would be really useful. So hopefully a lot more content coming up on this video, on this car, and so yeah, definitely a lot more content coming up on this. Really looking forward to a new little project. And I don't really need another project at the moment, but sometimes, you know, you're in the right place at the right time and you can't say no. We've all been in that situation, I'm sure. So as ever, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you again. Goodbye.